Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whip ass.
And you will too if you pass. Give me a minute. I just realized I got my janky glasses on. These are just my there's no ear on the right side, no piece. Yeah, these are my chill at home glasses. I'll be right back because I want them to fall off my face.
I just noticed that. That's crazy. Peace, everybody. How y'all doing? I see the other show still going on, so give them a minute to close out and welcome some of the guests over. You know what the show is about today. So before we get started, I'm gonna ask you to hit that like button, the share, the subscribe. You know how we do. I'm a little upset, but I'm gonna wait about last show. I'm gonna tell you why when we get started. I don't wanna say right now. Peace. You don't like my music? You don't have a chance to flee violence. Take it. Here we go. You're giving advice out already. You're giving advice out already. No, but you're right on that. We don't like you giving advice like that. If you haven't caught on to that yet, we don't like my music. We don't want you doing that, buddy. But appreciate you, Eugene Mason. Wake up wealthy. As our chat feels, it's good to be back. I was away last week, so it's good to see everybody once again. But I was just saying, I'm upset at last show because it was, first of all, it was a great show.
Sure.
That none of my selections were ever called out. I took a lot of time. This was 6 months in the making for me. I've been working on this show for 6 months. That's how long I researched so I listened to at least 600 revolutionary songs and went through each one twice. You know what I'm saying? To prepare for this. And I don't know. I was really shook up. I don't know if it was jealousy because my list was.
Yeah, it was jealousy. It was.
I don't know. I think it might have caused some riots. It was too much together between yours and mine together. But I don't know. They might have went out and started slapping people. So I'm kind of glad.
Now, greetings, everybody. We're waiting for a few minutes because Jared is doing a show at the same time. So we're trying to let Jared get finished.
I tried to jump on it, but it sent me to our link.
Because some of the audience is there. That's weird. It did that. Some of the audience that's normally over here is over there. So,
Yeah, they robbing.
They'll be
here they go.
Wrapping up soon. Right after the news. Anyway, this is the importance of training and our safety episode. We might have a special guest come in. One of the owners of Black Power Media may be coming on as a guest. So we'll see today, but we're going to get into it.
I thought it was interesting.
Go ahead.
I thought I heard some feedback. I thought it was interesting that I haven't seen really. I don't watch the news as far as like regular news, but usually when things happen, when I'm on YouTube and on social media, I see a lot of clips about whatever it is that's happening, and I thought it was interesting that I haven't seen any clips on the normal channels that I would see, normal outlets. I don't know of the exact date that this occurred. I'm talking about the Morgan State.
It happened Tuesday night.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on my YouTube come up or anything. I found stuff when I looked for it, but I didn't really see a lot about it. I don't know if other people have, but that's something that I thought was really interesting.
Well, I found some things on the normal channels on their websites, but a lot of times when you're dealing with colleges and universities, they hide things
Mm,
pretty well.
okay, I didn't think about
They
that.
keep things under wraps. Like when I was pledging Persian rifles, okay, uh, they came to my room and my roommate was there, and they threatened him, and because he was like, he's not here, man. Where is he? That's not your business. That's what my roommate was saying. He's not
Hmm.
part of what they doing. They tell us where he's at. It's not your business. Isn't it your business to know where he's at? I'm not telling you shit. And so then they, snatched him up, gonna whoop him. Threatened to whoop his ass. They didn't, but after that, he called his brothers. He's from upstate New York. Wealthy cat, but he wasn't no soft dude. I think they thought he'd be a soft dude because, it was pretty obvious they had money. Called his brothers down, and it was funny to me because they looking like supermodels, male supermodels coming down, but they mad at their brother. Somebody put their hands on their brother, so they coming to fight. And one of them, I said, I walked in, I had walked out, came back in, and his brothers were there, and they were like, who are you? I said, I'm his roommate. He said, you tell us where the Persian rifles are, or you can get it too. I said, man, I beat the brace off all y'all up in this motherfucker. Did your brother tell you about me? I said, shit, I just went out looking for them because they put their hands on him. But don't come down from your wealthy area in New York talking shit to me. I beat your ass. They, what? I said, I'm not afraid of none of y'all. So the older brother was like, chill out. It was like the middle brother was just on 10. It's like, chill out, man. This is his roommate. He didn't do nothing, you know. Yeah, but he gonna tell. I said, I ain't gotta tell you shit. Same way the reason they put their hands on him because he wouldn't tell them nothing. You're not gonna do it to me, but if you keep on talking, I won't tell you shit. You've been came all the way from Westchester, New York, and had to ride your ass all the way back because you won't have no information. So the dude apologized, and then we strategizing on what's gonna happen. Because I said, you got to strategize. You can't just. So I took them to the Persian rifle house, because I was gonna go over there anyway and knock up some cats, right? So because my roommate was a close friend of mine, I really, to be honest, pledged Persian rifle, and my sister should have warned me to as a practice for when I wanted to pledge Q. So I was practicing to see what it'd be like, and she was like, after I did that, she said, the Q's, she's a Delta. She said, you in a fraternity, not a Q's ain't never gonna accept you, to come over there. They'll dog you out. No fraternity to take you. I said, you tell me that now.
The pun intended, dog you out. Cute
Yeah,
dogs.
dog. I said, you tell me that now. So, uh, I didn't want to be a Persian rifle no damn way. So you ain't gonna mess with my roommate who I do love.
Yeah.
Went down there, man, and went to the house, and they like, you brought this. I said, man, look, y'all ain't no real brothers, blah, 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 blah. And we got into it. And the mug who's on 10, he pulls out a pistol. His brothers didn't even know he had a pistol with him. Looking like, oh shit, hey, no, we I thought we throwing hands. Pull out a pistol. They so then somebody grabbed the phone. There wasn't no cell phone back then. They no, it wasn't that bad, but they calling 911. And so they were, oh shit, let's go. Because these dudes rich. They ain't used to nothing. They ain't about that life. And I grew up in the hood, but I wasn't about that life. I'll put in work if I had to, but not no gangster life. You pulling out pistols and going that. So I'm like, oh shit. So we all run. But the next day, we go to the ROTC. This is at Howard University, by the way. So we go to where ROTC meets. I can't remember the name of the building. And when we go there, the Persian rifles come out to fight us. Let you know they weren't about their life either. They come in a line, spinning the rifles. This shit was whack. Like that's what we intimidated. Now I got a machete with me. I got goddamn a palm stick, nunchucks that I never trained on how to use. I know I can hit them upside the head with it, right? I got all kind, and I got that from my boy Victor, who was he was a crazy dude. I loved him, crazy as hell. He's a martial artist. I think I talked about him when he, threw. That's another thing. I went with him to fight the football team for hitting his girlfriend in the eye with an ice ball, and he started throwing stars at him. I'm like, hey man, what the? So getting pulled into this crazy ass shit. But I got nunchucks from him because he had a trunk full of just karate weapons and shit, right? So they coming out with the rifles and shit, and me and my roommate laughing. My roommate is named John. Me and John are cracking up like these dudes are whack. And he's like, "You part of that?" I said, "I'm not part of it no more. Goddamn, I'm standing with y'all." And I said, "This shit is corny as fuck." So we get ready to fight him. He said, "Yeah, y'all want us to put these down, don't you?" No, I said, "No, don't put them down. We good. You carrying that big heavy ass rifle, which don't have no bullet. It doesn't shoot, by the way.
Right.
You render inert. They just for spinning and doing the helicopter and the meat cutter and all that shit. That's what that's made for. Doing.
But it could be a good tool if they knew how to use it.
They don't know how, but that's the point. I know they didn't know how to use it. And they were asking me to show them how to use it combatively, which I'm glad I did. Right. So I got my hand on my machete. I'm pulling there. I got this long dust on. I'm pulling the machete up. And the goddamn Howard police come walking up the hall. What's going on? Because the ROTC cadre called the police. So I said, oh shit. So I threw my machete, nunchucks, the palm stick up under the vending machine. And so we talking to them, and they were like, look, you all gonna have to go home. Said, you guys, we're thinking about arresting you, to John's brothers. Said, but you all are students here. So go back to your dorms. You all go back to your dorms, talking to the Persian rifles. They said, keep this quiet. And so they putting the cuffs on John's brothers. And they're like, luckily, his brother didn't have it. The pistol was in the car. So they said, come over here. They called me and John over to the side. The police did. They said, look, we'll let them go as long as you all promise to keep this shit quiet. Just doesn't leave down here. Howard doesn't need nobody going to the press or nothing like that. Now, I'd already set up a meeting to talk to the press. I think I told you about that, right? And so the dude was like, yeah, we're going to blow the roof off this shit, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. Well, the captain, who's the head of the cadre, the actual real captain, not the ROTC captain, he comes down there. He said, Adam, you stick around for a minute. So, okay. So he takes me in the office and he said, I know you talked to the press already. You have a meeting today. I said, no. He said, yeah, you do. He said, but tell me what you want. I give you anything you want, as long as you don't go to the press. I'm young, silly, and I felt it was unethical to want some money. I was too black, too revolutionary for that. But I say, okay, give me a guaranteed spot at airborne school. Oh, nigga, give me a guaranteed spot at airborne school. Give me straight A. I don't have to come to ROTC classes because you got the lab and you got to meet them, work out in the mornings. I was working out at 4:30 a.m. anyway, and then I would train with RTC, but I said, let me get straight A's, but I don't have to come to class unless I want to, this and that. He said, you got it. You don't want nothing else? Because he's shocked, like, this fool ain't asked for no money, nothing. I said, nah, a guaranteed spot in airborne school and straight A's and ROTC. They said, sure. I know when I walked out of there, they were like, this old dumb nigga. And so I went to the dude from the press. I said, man, I can't talk to you. He said, what? I said, yeah, I can't. He said, what did they offer you? I said, oh, nothing. I just can't. He said, you're going to sell out. So I know it. He said, I know it wasn't much. You're going to sell out the people. I said, no. I sold out your newspaper. I sell out the people. It's still, crowd. So I'm leaving there thinking I stood on mine and I'm a revolutionary. And I was young, dumb, crazy shit.
Okay, I thought he was gonna say that. You know what I thought?
No, I was full of that too. I got 9 children, so our manifesto says drill team. Yeah, basically that's what the Persian rifles were. A drill team that became a fraternity, and it's a fraternity. It's white, black, all kinds of folks. It's a military fraternity, so it takes everybody. It ain't like it's just at Howard, everybody in it having to be black, because damn 99.99% of the people there are black. So it was whack,
Peace, Adam Funk.
2F said machete, hard to conceal. Yeah, that's why I had a dust on, right? Oh, and on that too, as I'm talking to the police, I look down and the handle from the machete is sticking out from under the vending machine. I am sweating bullets. I'm like, oh shit, if they see that, because I know shit, John's brothers, John may not have, but his brothers, they'd have been singing like canaries, Jack. Whose machete is that? I'd have been like, I don't know, but yeah. You also got some nunchucks on there. Get on your knees, look under there, look, see? They fucked me up. So I said, and on that, John's father, if you're looking, John, I ain't say your brother's name. Like, I love for you, but your brothers, they were cool. They were protecting their brother. They just didn't know how. But their father, I don't know if he's still with us, but he was the number 1 gynecologist in the United States. And while they were there, they were talking. They said, you think, John says, you think to his brothers, you think daddy likes pussy outside of mom because he sees so much of it? And his older brother said, bro, he's a man, dude. So of course he does. Just because he sees that, because people believe that kind of stuff. A doctor he sees all this. He's a gynecologist. He's an obstetrician. He's not into women. Some of those gynecologists and obstetricians be raping sisters. Well, women, period. So don't think like they're immune to something. My mother had a heart doctor that she switched from because this doctor was smoking. Said, how the hell he teach me about my heart and he smoked?
I see doctors especially you go to hospitals, some of the nurses and stuff are so overweight, just huge. I mean, it's like,
oh, here's Jared in here. Did y'all finally end the show, Jared? Y'all still going off? He said, my wife goes in with our daughters to all doc appointments, and I'm often right outside. No, well, your wife with them. That's good.
Yeah.
Look, I don't go with my daughters yet. Okay, but when my wife was pregnant with all our children, I was in the room, and the one time, well, when I was young with my oldest 2 daughters' mother, the dudes, the doctor, he's so cold. He was like, let me, I like to teach young fathers about the anatomy of the women. Like, what? And he's like, this is the labia. He's rubbing around my oldest 2 daughters.
Oh, yeah, you was talking.
They call them the lips. This is the clitoris. I said, hey, what the clitoris got to do with birth?
Yeah, you was talking about that last show, I think.
And she said, I don't feel right. I'm like, hey, man, stop. And then a nurse came in, said something to him, he left out. Right. So, yeah, Doc, all this kind of stuff is dangerous out here. The one time I wasn't with my wife at doctor's appointment, they trying to get her to get an amniocentesis. So
yeah, I remember you talked about that.
So I, got to be there.
Yeah,
Just we
most
start well
definitely.
before 1 p.m. Okay, I guess
Yes,
my job is replaying or something.
and Peace 40J Blaze.
Peace to all the family.
Yeah, we named most of the people already. And yes,
Howdy, you don't like my music.
Nunchucks are not even a weapon. We've talked about that before. They were never really a weapon. They were just marketed to
rice. It was a rice thing, but also
and it was Japanese.
Yeah, and what's funny, we all say nunchucks, numchucks. It's nunchaku.
Yeah,
right. It's nunchaku, and most people don't know it, right?
And they don't care. They market it to us and sold it to us.
Right.
And say, call it whatever you want. Just buy it.
You buy it.
You can fight somebody with it.
You ain't heard Japanese correct nobody on it.
No, and we the ones
like that find these nunchucks, and we call them karate sticks when I was growing up.
And we made them popular because when it wasn't none, we made them. We made them when it wasn't none, and then they started selling them the rubber kind because so many kids was making them. And so even black folks, nunchucks wouldn't have been popular.
Bruce Lee is Chinese. In the game of death, well, actually,
they do look cool.
And I think Chinese Connection too. Using that's not a Chinese weapon. It's Japanese. The Filipinos also use it because it's a rice shredder or whatever they call it. He used it because it was growing in popularity in the 70s.
Right.
So but watch his eyes while he's using it. He closing his eye because he's scared of getting hit in the head.
Chris Jack said, I didn't know y'all was wild at Howard coming from a DC native. Well, Bob was from Chicago and he was at Howard, so
I mean, my sister went to Howard before me. If my son's watching, the real HU, because he goes to Hampton, right? And they call that HU too. So we have that's the only thing I got out of going to Howard. We have a funny family rivalry thing that I enjoy. Other than that, I ain't out of going. In fact, I knew if I stayed at Howard. So at the time, I don't know if it was a rumor or what, but it seemed true looking at it. Howard had 13 sisters for every one brother. And I was determined to experience all of my 13.
All right. And with that,
what I'm saying is I left and went to Columbia because I had the sense to know that women were going to supersede my education if I stayed at Howard. So I transferred, and then also by transferring to Columbia, I got to Columbia College in Chicago. So it's a college of arts, right? Performing arts. I got to do what I wanted to do, which was major in film with a specialization in creative writing and screenwriting, film with a specialization in screenwriting, as opposed to when I was at Howard and my major was business and my specialization was finance, which I had no interest in, but I was doing it because my family, because I was great at math, so my family convinced me I should be a stockbroker. Y'all see me as a stockbroker? Stockbroker is high stress anyway, and some fool disrespect me. Like, why is that man slapping folks on the damn floor? I couldn't. There's no. I'm not built for that kind of shit. And capitalism, and I'm an anti-capitalist. So if y'all don't know, for those who don't know me, I'm an anti-capitalist. So Bruce was from Hong Kong, but that's China. Yeah, exactly. So Hong Kong during that time of the 70s and everything was really colonized by Great Britain. Okay. But it was still Chinese. They speak Cantonese in that area. But most of China speaks Mandarin. And yeah, this would be stockbroker class. Yeah, that'll be might be dope though. Welcome to stockbroker class. Where we make money for your ass.
Stupid.
You will too. If you pass, we'll be, oh my God.
That is hilarious.
B-Lay be sitting up here looking like Brian Gumble. Hey guys. Oh, we need you to have a perm. This will be all the show.
I was a stockbroker, Baba.
What?
For a little while. I did not have a relaxer.
I was halfway there. Shit.
Can we please start the show, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh my goodness.
I want to talk about your sellout years.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. Hey, I was about to say we all had them, but some people may have never been sellouts. I don't know.
Never. Sorry, I'm sorry. I worked in a pork skin factory. I mean, everybody did something. We all. I was straight up Muslim in the pork skin factory, so you know what I'm saying.
You said that's the best job you ever had.
I did not say that. I never said that, and will never say that.
I said pork. If that was Chicago, and I'm sure in North Carolina too, if they had a pork skin factory in Chicago, that would be some mafia thing, but that's where they hid the bodies at.
Right. Don't get it. I mean, yeah. It's the country, so this is the country boy, good old boy mafia. Same thing.
Right.
Same thing. But yeah, yes, pork skin factory. I worked at a pork skin factory. Yes, I did.
How did it smell in there?
All right, I'm not going to talk. We're going to get into the show. I'm just going to say one thing about the pork skin factory that I worked at. I worked there for about a year and a half, and it's 5 days a week. All right. The smell is so bad. Till every Monday morning, we all laughing and talking because it's like 5 dudes from my neighborhood. We work there. Mm-hmm. We laughing and joking, and then we get through the freezer door because it's like the door's like, excuse me, can you see my hands? This thick, maybe. Wow. Long, about this thick. It's about 12 inches, 13 inches thick. It's like a vote almost. And you open it, and the smell give you a gag reflex every time. And you forget. And you just walk, you be like, yeah, man, and then you get adjusted. That's how it smells like rotted meat. Because the meat is rotted. The pork skin, the skin is like purplish because they write on it.
No.
And the ink goes through all of the skin, and it gets purplish. It's sitting for a long time in the freezer, and then you put it in you put it in lard with some barbecue sauce, and y'all eat it. So that's what it is, and we're gonna get to the show because that's what y'all love. That's what y'all desire. So we're gonna get to it. Anyway.
So you still got to hook up so you can get us some fresh pork skin.
You don't stop it. So
when they fresh, they organic, almost vegan. All right. So we're gonna get into it. The importance of training and our safety. So given some slight background on it, me and the wife were at the passport place getting Okikiola her passport. So we were taking care of that. I get a message that says, I get a message says check out Remix Morning Show. I'm glad Jared's here. And a part they were talking about training. And so Kamal says training, really? Training about the shooting. We're going to talk about what happened, that no amount of training could help you in that situation. And so I hit up Bilay and Ominiki, said, watch it, let me know your thoughts. And the thoughts was people really don't understand training. And people think when we train, it's kind of like they think we're like doomsday preppers. You're preparing for every situation. Well, you are, but you cannot train for every specific situation.
Can I say something real quick, Bubba?
Yes.
To speak to what you're saying and what you're about to say. So I just came from my stepfather's funeral, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all know how funerals are, how they can be when an elder dies or whatever, he had like 7 children, how that can be. You know what I'm saying? When somebody dies and how messy it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling one of my friends when I got back, I was like, because I was the only son for my mom. He had like 7 children. I was the only one there during the funeral, and going to the funeral home, and people like wanting to argue, and it's just things happening. So I'm being basically I'm the security for everybody kind of thing. I'm keeping everybody in check. My mom, keeping people I don't know, strangers, everybody. I'm whatever room I'm in. I don't really hear the conversation. I'm looking at people temperament, because I understand people in pain, some emotions going on, and things are being said. So I don't know any of these people, never met them. I'm meeting them for the first time. I'm using so to get to it, I'm telling my friend how my homie how I had to when I was home, I had to be everything. I had to handle so many people, and I had to escort some folks off of the scene and different things. And he was like, "Yo, did you use any technique?" And he was like, "Physically on any, you know what I'm saying?" I was like, "I didn't do anything physically really, but all of his technique.
Right.
Everything I did was because everything I was able to do was because I was trained, being the level head in the room where everybody's emotional, and being able to say, hey, okay, calm down. That's not right. We need to think about what you're saying. You want to be able to be in good character after this is over. People I'm talking to, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Grabbing some people around, say, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. They being loud and boisterous. Hey, I just want to say, everybody just, hey, man, let me talk to you for a second. Look, this ain't, hey, man, I don't know you, but this is going on. I know you don't want to be this. All of that stuff, guiding them out of this, all of that's technique. You never know when that's going to come in handy. You use it every day. You use it every day. Like Baba said, the highest form of self-defense is avoidance. Getting people to not get into it, noticing what's happening before they start talking, seeing somebody temperament, he about to go off. Let me get in there. Throw a joke in there. See the lady walking up. Oh, you look like you mad at everybody. I ain't about to say nothing to you. She start laughing. Diffuse that real quick. All that's training. So I just want to just jump in there.
And so what Vile is saying is, and you said it well, but to make this plain, because we're not dealing with this specifically in here, because it's so much to training. But when you hear people say, it's either fight or flight, that's the untrained who don't understand that when you're trained, it gives a pause in there where you don't just have to rely on fight or flight. So when an active shooter is out there, people say, you can't handle an active shooter. Yes, you better handle it, and handle it could also be running and hiding, by the way. That's part of training, is knowing what is the appropriate thing to do. Well, that comes from training, allows you to have that gap between fight and flight where you're doing something. Like it's no choice. I can only flee or I can only fight. No, there is much between that. And that training allows that. That's the most important thing about training, that you understand it and you know what to do. When my son was growing up, we teach children, defend yourself, do this. But if you're dealing with people who were never combatants, they don't know to teach you when to do it. So Ade being young, he was really in the stroller training, but by the time serious training, 5 years old, right? By the time he was 7, people trying to bully him. So in the class, he was like, Ade, you know how to defend yourself? You throwing men. You know how to defend yourself. And so he said, but Daddy, when do I do it? I don't want to just hurt everybody. When should I do it? And I realized that him being young, I was just giving him technique. I hadn't gotten to the part of the mental aspect, when to do and what to do, right? And so then I began to, even young, begin to teach them. Because also, and y'all have been there when we teach children, bring youth in, you say to youth, what does a killer look like? What does a person that'll abduct you look like? They say they got on a black mask, a black shirt, black pants, black hat, black gloves, a big black gun. Everything black is bad to them too. That's another problem. But they have a whole cartoonish look because that's all they can rely on, because they ain't been taught by their parents. The parents think they've taught their children how to be safe in this world, and they ain't taught them shit because they don't know. That's another reason why you got to be trained, so you can take care of others who need to be trained.
Because even the adults would say a rapist looks sweat, he looked weird, he looked this and that and all that. So yeah,
I told y'all I was teaching women's self-defense. I said, what does a rapist look like? Now we've been working hard, we sweating. Y'all know I got thick glasses.
Thank you for that.
They said he's sweaty, he got thick glasses on. I said, well, ho. I'm sweaty, got thick glasses on. I said, but you're right. He looks like that. A rapist looks like the brother right there, brother who's assisting me, Kunle. Said, looks like him. Shit, looks like y'all. Look like anybody. And that's what you teach the children. A murderer, rapist. We don't really deal with rapists for children, but abductor, thief, they can look like anybody. You know, we tell the untrained, we'll say, don't talk to strangers. Well, you're teaching your children you're a goddamn liar. Because a stranger walks up and say, hey, and your child, don't be rude, speak. And the child's like, they're confused. You told me don't speak to strangers. The simple solution is don't speak to anybody I tell you not to speak to.
It's funny because when you untrain, the worst thing you could do is act like you train, because like Baba said, if you don't know something, it don't exist. So you don't even have a realistic idea of what a trained person thinks like.
Right.
And that's the real thing. You would think, well, a trained person would, you don't know.
Now, you don't like my music says, what does a victim look like? Same thing, like everybody. Everybody can be a victim. However, to not get victimized, you can't look like what people's idea of a victim is. So the idea of a victim,
give it time.
You're walking, looking at your phone, I bust his head and take his shit because he's not aware.
Paying attention.
You're looking all over the place. Victim. You think that's not keeping your head on the swivel? Looking all over.
You're looking scary.
Scared as hell. You're looking scary. People, perception precedes action. The process of action is perception, thought, impulse, action. So if you perceive me as weak, then you think I'm weak. You get the feeling that nigga weak. I do so and so. And the action then takes.
Well,
Baba, you're on mute.
Something just happened. You just got on mute.
Can y'all hear me now?
You're on.
Yeah, you hit the top of the mic. So if you view me as somebody that sent you to the hospital or the morgue, though, then if that's your perception, your thought is this motherfucker sent me to the hospital.
And that's what the problem be. Somebody wants to give that perception, but they don't really know what that looks like. So They try to give this false thing, and they walk around like this, and somebody about it look at them and say, "Oh, okay, got one."
And then I mean, this motherfucker, he might as well have a cape on. And then you look and saying, this dude don't know the fuck he doing. The train, like, this dude don't know shit.
Right. He put his hands up and let's go. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I was fighting the dude one time, and he gets in, I know as much as you. So he puts his hands up, and I push his fist into his face. Clearly, you don't know as much as me. he shook now. Don't fake like you just. He could have just said, "Look, man, I'm gonna fight you. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm gonna fight you." Well, ain't nobody ego gonna let them say that. But you know, or when you see mothers doing this and they think they know what they're doing. Oh my God, my daughter was doing this one time. One of my daughters. I said, Daddy, you know, they fight like this nowadays, like you know, the way we fight is arcane or some shit. You know, we were doing this shit in the goddamn 1200s or something, but not today. Today it's like that, and I just slapped her elbows and her arms together, and I pressed and like, baby, you'll get knocked out doing that shit. You know. So you know, it's but that's because I'm trained. I know what will happen if you're doing this right. That's another part. So we're gonna get into it, but those are simple reasons why training is important. And we're gonna deal with, you know, why training as far as active shooters, somebody kicking in your door, all of that can be handled if you're trained. So we're gonna deal with it. Protecting oneself and others is a basic human function. That's why everybody think they can do it or want to act like they can do it or go the opposite end and say nobody can do it, right? No, you can't. That don't mean nobody can. So we should prepare for our protection, if you will. And we say protection instead of self-defense. We use self-defense because most people use it, so they're familiar with it. But defense means you go into the situation thinking like a victim. He does this and I defend myself. She does this and I defend myself.
Yeah, well.
Protection, you're proactive. In the best way, you ain't even there when the person intending to attack you is there to attack you. You ain't there.
Yeah, well.
That's the best avoidance. But so we prepare for a visit to the grocery store by making a list, right? We prepare for that. Got this grocery, eggs, check. Bread, check. Milk, check. Right? But how do we prepare for our protection? We train. Train is the preparation for our protection. Right? It's that grocery list. Okay. Now let's make it plain. And when you make a grocery list, egg, blah, 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 I want these things, you go to the grocery store, they may be out. You still were prepared to get it though.
Yeah, right.
They may have other things.
Right. And they have other things that you can get substitutes, all of that. But if it wasn't on your list, you gotta sit and try to think about it. And if you're trying to think about your protection, you're probably gonna be shedding blood, your own, not shedding somebody else's blood. If you're thinking in a violent encounter, okay? Now, let's make it plain. Training is not about fantasizing about a squad of police officers in pig masks attacking you with extendable steel batons and how you would disarm them. Training is about being ready for probable and plausible threats, how to avoid them if at all possible, and how to deal with them if a violent encounter is inevitable. You avoid if at all possible, you deal with them if the encounter is inevitable. Training is about keeping yourself and your loved ones safe from harm and staying in control during unavoidable situations.
Yeah, well, I actually had a situation yesterday. The last few days, I worked at this huge convention center, and I actually got lost yesterday in there. But I was going into this really big restroom because they have a bunch of those, and it was a woman's restroom, and the lights were off. Like in the front, the lights were on near the sinks or whatever, but back where you actually go into the stalls, the lights were off. And so I immediately turn around, you know, and I'm like, okay, why are the lights off in here? And there's this Urugu woman standing there washing her hands. And she's like, yeah, I've been in here 3 times and it's been like this. And I was like, So I turn and I look for the light switch. I press the button and all the lights come on inside the bathroom. And I was like, why would you go into a dark bathroom? Like, that's so dangerous. I didn't say that to her, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. That's such a dangerous situation to put yourself in. And I immediately thought about my training, and how I might have gone into the dark bathroom if I hadn't been really thinking about it. Hadn't really been thinking how that situation can completely go wrong if you aren't, if you aren't aware.
I went to the dentist. I had to use the bathroom. It's rare that I do number 2 in public, but this was unavoidable, right? So I'm sitting doing number 2. Somebody comes in the bathroom and they turn the damn lights off. Now, since I'm trained, my knife immediately comes out. So I'm sitting on the toilet like this,
You ain't say, hey, I'm in here.
Hell no, because I'm trained. I wasn't gonna let them, so I'm silent as shit. And shit. But so I'm sitting there and I said, if this dude kicks his door in, I just be pooping while I stand up and cut him up.
Hey.
Because that's another thing. Wait a minute, I'm almost finished. Hell no, you better get ready to, So he left out. Still the lights off. So after I got done, I got to go and wash my hands. So I didn't just walk out and wash my hands. The door creep open. I push it. I'm looking. If somebody looked at me like, what the? It took me about 10 minutes to walk out to the sink because I'm being careful. Like, why you turn the lights off?
Right.
It was a weird.
He knew he was in there. He was trying to save energy.
Maybe.
Somebody worked there.
I didn't see the person. Right. He probably worked there.
Somebody worked there.
That's probably what happened yesterday.
That's probably the boss walked there with the supervisor
goddamn, they wasting my the power bill's too high. Shit, hey.
But notice what I said. He didn't yell out, hey, I'm in here. Somebody turned like it's little stuff that if you don't know, they don't exist to you.
Right.
So anyway, many indulge in lifestyles without discipline, preferring the path of least resistance. The overall attitude of folks is geared towards seeking self-centered comfort and convenience. Obesity is at an all-time high, and the trivial distractions that surround us, from video games to our infatuation with the Real Housewives and other trash TV, make us weaker and incidentally unprepared. Speaking of that, I think the Freon I think the air conditioner is a problem too. I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. No matter your age or physical condition you are in right now, this is the time to begin a new regimen and develop a mindset that will turn you into a survivor who can live with confidence and freedom in the world, in a changing world. And the time is now. No matter what age you are. Next show we'll be talking about that too, which we always talk about. The world is a dangerous place and getting more so with each passing day. And most of us are as shea butter soft as we've ever been. It's not a question of if, but when the next man-made or natural disaster will occur. I don't say this lightly or to frighten you or to get likes and follows, but to give you the facts. If you want to make believe that it's all just fine or there's little to no value in training to make yourself more capable to defend yourself, then keep your head in the sand. You'll get nothing out of it except sand in your eyes, ears, and nose. So one thing I just wanted to say, I was thinking about this. This is a little off the subject, but all the kids wearing so much black, and not just black, but hoodies in the summertime, right?
And those the beanies, the wintertime
in the summertime.
beanies. Yeah.
You know what I think about? So this is just, we're gonna get back to it, but what is the effects of Freon? My grandma used to talk about this because she used to be like, how the Freon make your skin weak. Is what my grandma used to say. Like, I don't have that air conditioner, I don't have that Freon. And then when she started living with somebody in the Freon, and she would say, "Now I can't even hardly be out in the. I feel like I need on something heavy." And she would wear like, thicker clothes and stuff. It make me think like, we got the free on the air conditioner, especially if you live with folks with the air conditioner like 70 something. Like we didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? And now I don't think they temperature adjust properly.
It's funny.
And now they need hoodies and stuff like that and the beanies on their head to adjust their temperature. I know I don't want to get off subject, so I just had to throw that out there because it's something on my mind I never said out loud before.
Since you're saying it, air conditioning used to make me feel sick, like especially if I was in the car and someone was really blasting air conditioning. Like I could only take that for a few minutes. I would start feeling nauseous. I would be like, "Can you please turn that down?" So it does definitely have an effect.
I prefer natural air to air conditioner myself.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. It's funny now. I kind of like use it more because I've gotten used to it. But anyway, turn the air off sometime. Hurt them kids. Them kids don't need all that. Anyway, go ahead. I just want.
So the cold hard reality is that the vast majority of people are simply not equipped to successfully deal with impending violence and potentially fatal mishaps. But the vast majority are well equipped to not train, complain, and for the trained have disdain. Such a pain.
Bars.
I look forward to the day when this is no longer true. Until then, I will do everything in my power to teach you, my son, and my other loved ones how to be survivors and not statistics. Today, we are going to provide you with a step-by-step plan for action to keep you alive during the most deadly circumstances.
Yeah, but first, let me teach a bit on active shooters. In malls, markets, and schools, we expect to go to these places to stroll, shop, relax, holler at women, men, whatever it is, or learn in environments that are relatively safe and secure. Okay. We expect to go about our daily lives without worry. We expect to. However, think about the 1999 Columbine High School shooting that killed 15, or the 2005 Tacoma, Washington Mall shooting that wounded 7, or the 2007 Westroads Mall incident in Omaha, Nebraska with 9 dead, or the Virginia Tech massacre in that same year when 32 died, or the 2011 slaughter of 69 innocents at a Norwegian youth camp, or the July 2012 mass shooting at the Century Movie Theater in Aurora, Colorado, where over 300 people went to see a midnight screening of The Dark Knight Rises, and 58 were wounded by the shooter and 12 killed. Or just Tuesday night at Morgan State University, where Dr. Ball teaches, is a professor, with 4 men and 1 woman between the ages of 18 and 22 years old shot, but thankfully not killed. Okay. I'm aware of the vast and varying opinions regarding guns and gun control. That said, imagine if just one person in the Century Movie Theater that night had the required training and was carrying a concealed firearm. Would things be different if the murderer found the video game he was playing in his mind, started shooting back? Now, some will argue that more guns would cause more devastation. Well, it doesn't get much more devastating than a bastard with over 150 rounds shooting at a mass of innocent people at point blank range. Given all these incidents, one thing can be said about the people who did this. They are similar in their intent to kill, to murder. Their motivation to commit these acts might be a personal vendetta, or to further political or religious agenda, or some psychological disorder. So stay alert, because the shooter could be anyone, anywhere. We talked about murderers, what they look like anyone. Shooter, active shooter could be anyone, anywhere. The paramilitary or trench coat garb that is often used to conceal weaponry, of course, is not by any means the preferred look of an active shooter. Now, Dylan Klebold, Eric Knaus at Columbine, they wore the trench coat. They were influenced by The Matrix. So they had that look on, right? But that's not the preferred look of an active shooter. The Virginia Tech murderer wore a maroon hoodie and a gray hat. First of all, hoodie and hat make you have to look too. Right. The Norwegian shooter donned a police uniform. He actually called out to the fleeing students, come on, after he's shooting, come on, identifying himself as a police officer. He then gunned down those who ran in his direction, who believed they were heading towards safety.
Now, he was calm.
Yeah, because he's trained. He was trained. Even to put on the police uniform and to pull that off.
Yeah.
Come on, right here. And then just gun them down. Okay?
That's crazy.
In most cases, the perpetrators of these attacks pick soft targets with the full intention of having unrestricted access and time to claim as many victims as possible. These folks take their time. They're not rushing. They hit one area, they move to another. Hit one area, move to another. They're taking their time, right? Because they know they're hitting soft targets. They're hitting the untrained. They want to claim as many victims as possible before they are captured or gunned down, or before they kill themselves. Okay. A soft target generally refers to any public place where there are large groups of people, predominantly young adults, women, and children, and little or no security, such as malls, markets, and schools. I was in a mall, walking through the mall once. I was getting ready to go to the movie. And man, got these, it's a group of black girls, like probably 8th grade, 9th grade at the oldest. And he got them, he's taking pictures. They sitting on his lap, he's taking pictures with, he got a professional camera, and and I'm looking at his shoes. He's got, the back in the day, you get the mirror shoes, you got the silver on the heel and on the toe.
Mm-hmm.
He got them polished up, and he got girls. One girl got a skirt on, he got her standing there. Yeah, you move like this, like this, like this, and he's taking pictures, but the camera is pointing down. I walked over and snatched him up. So he's like, "What are you doing? Don't leave these little girls alone." But I'm slapping the fuck out of them. Security comes. And that's what I was waiting on. Because you don't see this dude doing this. You see me slapping him, though, don't you? Hey, what's going on? I said, you see, he's taking pictures of these girls in the reflection of his shoes. He got them sitting on his lap taking pictures. I said, what did he tell you all? He said that he's looking for models. He's a professional modeling agent. He's looking. I said, this motherfucker he's not an agent, y'all. Maybe an agent of the state. But he's not an agent for no modeling company. I said, nah. And so the security, it was a sister. She looks at me. She said, what do we do? What do we do? You're supposed to be securing the place. Well, shooters know that those kind of people work there. She asking me, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
She only came over because she saw this black man slapping a white man.
Right.
Slapping him up. But now, and she was really scared because she, excuse me, sir. She didn't grab me or nothing like that. Excuse me, sir, what's going on?
Right. You're in charge now.
Right.
The security put you in charge.
I said, what we do? We put his ass out of here. See, we call the police. I said, well, if that's what you want to do, but I'm gone to be called the police. I don't mess with the police. I don't talk to the police. You sure? I said, let's just get his ass out of here. Take his photo, put it up in your wall in your office. He does not come back in this mall. So I'm walking him out. You don't come back to the mall. You understand? Yeah, bah, slap him upside his head, Then he goes about his business. Now, should he have been arrested? Maybe. But I'm not going to be there and I'll be one shot. Because I'm the black man saving the children in the mall from this fool, but they killed me. So I'm gone to be called the police. But I understand if you got to, something need to be done to him. And really, they had seen me and all that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have came back to the mall. I'll say that. Okay. But yeah, in most cases, they pick soft targets, right? because those targets are unprepared for defense against individuals with massive firepower who have the sole intent to kill and cause mayhem. Now, she wasn't ready for a man slapping up somebody else. So imagine, is she ready for somebody who comes in and they're using massive firepower to kill people? No, she's not ready.
She also wasn't ready for a pervert.
And she wasn't ready for that. She wasn't ready at all. She was untrained,
Right.
put
She
in
just
a
had
job
a $10
that
hour
needed
job.
to change.
Mm-hmm.
I got a video I haven't posted yet, 2 of them. One is this group of white guys, because black guys would be killed and shot if they did it. But it's these group of white guys. I think you can pay them, and what they do is they basically fake kidnap your child. They see if your child will communicate on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And meet them somewhere publicly and abduct them. And then their parent will be there in the van with them.
Yeah, black man couldn't
we
do that kind of program.
Yeah. But I like that they do that, because it's amazing that in this day and time, teenagers are still taking crazy risks. And this one video I have where it's not even a plan. It's just a man, it's a painter that has a van. And this little girl, like maybe 7, 8 years old, is outside the neighborhood. And the little girl comes up behind the van and she says, "Hey, this ain't a kidnapping van." And the man video her. He's like, "Little girl, what are you doing back here?" And the little girl's like, "I thought this was a kidnapping van, but this ain't no kidnapping van. You're just a painter." And he's like, "Yeah, did you want to get kidnapped?" And she said, "I don't know." She thought it was a joke. She thought the whole kidnapping thing was a joke. She didn't even understand at that age. And I'm saying maybe she was about, I'm giving her the benefit, but she was at least about 7 years old. At that age, either she shouldn't have been out there at a strange van when nobody else ain't around, or she should know better. You know, I'm just saying. But it's just amazing what the kids are still out here doing. So,
well, see, so the danger with all our children, they're children. But
right.
with teenagers don't realize they're still children. And will rebel, they will push back
To show that they're adults.
Right. They will push back against that. You know, you're saying they're children. Okay, well, even my son, we had a conversation when he was 18. And he said, "Well, I'm adult now, so and so. It was about a safety issue." I said, "Okay, well, what do you do in this situation?" Call you and see, that's part of being an adult. I know to call you. I said, "Son, recognize that you are an adult, yes, by somebody else's standard. They say, right, but you're not grown."
No. You're
Being
not mentally
grown,
mature.
I said, see, even thinking you think being grown is what? He said, I can do whatever I want to do. See, when you grown, you can't do whatever the hell you want to do.
Exactly.
Grown is the grown. I just talked about that.
But what being grown is you have responsibilities. You recognize that, and hopefully being grown, you recognize you got to be trained in the things you're responsible to do. If I feel that it is as a father, is my response, and a husband, is my responsibility to protect my family. You hear a lot of folks, they'll say, the father has to provide, the man has to provide for his family. I agree. But you never hear them saying got to protect their family. We think protection comes through osmosis. Well, fighting, doing something could come through osmosis. But to skillfully protect your family, you got to be trained, because you have to be calm during the storm.
Only training gonna give you that.
You have to be. When we have our show festival coming up, as we're leaving, the key, my daughter's key gets stuck in the lock. But we can't leave the house with the key stuck in the lock. Somebody just unlock the door, come in. Mm-hmm. My wife's upset, and I said, "Look, you all go ahead and leave me. I'll get an Uber there." She's still stuck around. She didn't want to do that. But that started the event. The event started late because she waited around for me. You have to go. You got to be calm in this, dear. You have to be calm during this time. It's a time of crisis. You have to be calm during that time. That's what the train does. That's what it does for you. Okay. And that is so important. And if you don't realize the importance, it's only because you're not trained. That your survivability is almost zero during an active shooting if you're untrained. You have no idea what to do. And since you have no idea what to do, you throw out shit like nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah, boom.
Training is important, highly important. But even with our show, and we have a good show, I'll say that myself, a great show. It doesn't have the views that it should have because people either, one, don't value training, or two, they think they got training, and most of them ain't got shit.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
absolutely. I actually, it's funny. I was thinking about this topic last week because one of my many jobs scheduled this last minute training for us, and then they ended up canceling it. But in the process of them canceling it, they told us that it was an active shooter training. And I had to laugh a little bit, to be honest, because I've been through one of those before, and it's like nothing. They tell you things that anyone would think of in the heat of the moment, run. Exactly. Yeah, it's just like, it's like they make a video full of just nonsense.
Grab cover.
So that they can tell you that you had an active shooter training. And I mean, it is so ridiculous, the things that they say during these trainings. And it got me to thinking about this, our show.
Great point.
Yeah, because, even though they call it a training and they put money into a video and all this stuff, it's still.
No, but the thing about that is, because you're trained, but somebody looking at this may see, okay, now I have active duty training.
Right.
That's the problem with not being trained. Is people out here doing videos just like us.
You don't
and honestly,
to identify what real training is.
Companies, they give active shooter training, like you said, that covers them as far as insurance. Hey, we gave our people active shooter training.
Right.
They don't care. You don't know that you died doing that. They're covered.
Right.
As long as they're covered, right? Colleges teach active shooter training. It's bullshit.
Right.
So.
But you won't know that unless you are really trained.
You can bring in real experts, but instead of doing that, because that costs more money, we'll give them this training program. We'll make this video, and they sit and watch this 30-minute video.
Right.
And then they, now they're ready. They're ready for the world. I looked at FEMA's active shooter training page. It's garbage. It's garbage. But of course, they need to say, okay, well, America teaches its citizens against active shooters. Go to the FEMA website. You'll know just as much as you knew before you went to the FEMA website. Okay. So yeah, all that's garbage. You're only going to find a few people who really teach you how to deal with active shooters out here.
Training, man. Training is That's why I said it transcends so many things. And maybe it's because what we do is not what, I don't know how to say it. It's because people would say combative, but it's not a sport. This is real self-protection.
Right.
It's not a sport, and it's real, and it's a difference. And if you don't know that, which is the issue, and you just say, "Oh, they got on nice uniforms, they kicking high in the air, and this, I'm gonna go to this school right here, and I'm gonna learn how to kick people and whatever."
In a nice building,
right? Because the building looked good, and everybody got on uniforms, and
what do you think it's nice. African? Because it's African, we don't know how to deal with real situations. Like Africa it's a fantastical place because we've said a lot of fantastical shit when it comes to Africa.
Or that it's just
I was thinking somebody said something. It was something. Oh, I was teaching class and somebody asked me what books on revolution we should read. And so I spoke about Kwame Nkrumah's book, right? And Shango Moriwa and Shango Bumi, nothing about Shango people, they just happen to be two Shango folk. But they said, no, we're talking about, I think, and maybe Balagoon D. We're talking about revolutionary, like from America. Because Africans, they get their revolutionary mindset from us. I said, are you out your goddamn mind? Do you think that we weren't warriors involved in combat, involved in resisting oppression before the white man snatched us over here? Are you serious? So I'm naming different revolutionaries, and they, if you don't know a thing, it doesn't exist. That goes along with training. That's part of training. Training for us ain't just goddamn doing hiya, hiya. That's not just training. It's the mindset. So you have to study as well. Because when you study history of revolution, history of war, it speaks to what's going on now. And it deals with strategies that are useful now if you're trained and know how to use them for now. But if you're talking about those books were then and they're not worth nothing now, that's because you are not trained.
Right.
Like when the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu folks say nobody can fight multiple attackers. Because people say you can't fight multiple attackers on the ground. They say nobody can fight multiple attackers. And I always say to them, no, you can't fight multiple attackers. But in a war situation, soldiers fight multiple opponents all the time. So what are you talking about?
They don't know.
And if you don't know a thing, it doesn't exist, and you can't avoid that. So the master blacksmith in one town is a student blacksmith in another. So it doesn't matter if you're a goddamn lawyer, if you're an Indian chief, whatever you are over here, you don't know shit right here.
Yeah,
so learn or don't open your mouth, because you're endangering people who respect you over here, and they think you know something here.
Yeah, that's the downfall I find with a lot of intelligent people who are well learned in one area, that it makes them think they know everything about everything.
That's called false omniscience.
Right. They convince themselves that they know everything.
I know martial artists, students are asking them about Boolean mathematics, and they saying shit, don't even know what the fuck Boolean mathematics is. But their ego won't allow them to just shut their goddamn mouth or tell their student, go to the internet, I don't know. Exactly. Or go to so-and-so, because they know. When my son was having problems, I told you I'm great with math, but my weakness is fractions. My son was having problems with fractions. I said, shit, that's what I'm weak at. I didn't bullshit him around and telling him shit that's going. I sent him to Akinbobola, who is a mathematician. Mm-hmm. And boy, we're all glad that we did that.
But sometimes it's ignorance too. You think you know because you don't know.
So and that's the most dangerous person now.
Yeah, because you think is because you
right,
may
now,
be
that is the most dangerous.
You may be intelligent, so you and you may be an intelligent person, so you may think, logically this is the right answer. Logically, you should do this, and you feel that that's the answer. But that's the thing about not being trained. It may seem logical to you because you don't know.
When a person's falling, teaching a sister, she was brilliant in school.
Right.
And she's falling back. I said, do not put your hands back. You're going to get injured. Keep your hands up. And as you push, drop, bend your knees, land on your ass, and then it's going to take you backwards. If I land on my ass, my coccyx bone will crack. And so I said, your coccyx bone will not crack. Well, why wouldn't it? I said, well, only thing I can tell you is I've done this tens of thousands of times on concrete. And my coccyx bone hasn't touched the ground. Okay? And it rolls you back, whether you want to or not. You ain't just sit, boo, and like that. You're going to roll back from the force. It's saying, okay, I'm going downward, so the momentum is there. Well, that seems to be logical, doesn't it?
That's what it is.
But logic doesn't take your logic doesn't take into account that your spine from that hit to the ground is going to take you backwards to take force off of your coccyx bone.
Disperse the energy.
So those things you only know from training.
And that's the problem. When you don't train, you get illogical expectations that you think are logical and that they are going to happen. It reminds me of the meme that you showed, that you posted, where you got the monks talking about you got the movie monks. I'm gonna have to use my kung fu, and they start using the kung fu versus a real video of monks fighting. Right. When they picking up stuff, smashing each other and hitting each other like this and going crazy. Ain't none of that. I ain't seen none of that. And this was real video. I ain't seen none of this, and you never see none of that in a real.
But it is training. They were training them to pick up this object, hit that motherfucker in the head.
Exactly. None of this. They've been doing this 100 years, but that ain't what kicked in. The chill kicked in. None of that shit, because they know that's some bullshit. Right. And that's what. But you ain't gonna know that.
And that's for exercise for them.
Right. But
so kung fu.
But I just want to say this real quick. It's exercise for them, but not for the how many thousands of Africans that's now taking kung fu seriously and practicing it and using it and thinking they can really do something.
Right.
And that's sad.
We got our comrade here. So peace.
What's happening? I mean to bum rush the set, but I heard Relay talking junk, so I wanted to challenge him. No, I'm joking. Hey,
peace. Greetings, Kanji.
Listen, man, I'm glad y'all doing this. This is so important. We hear so many people talking about being revolutionary, but then training is not required and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. I don't understand how, to me, training is just as important as political education. You know what I'm saying? So you're running around talking about, we're in the fight or we're in the movement and all this type of stuff, and you are discouraging people from training. There's one thing to not train, but it's another thing to discourage folks or try to downplay it or dismiss it because primarily you're a sucker. You understand what I'm saying? And you're afraid to to really put your mouth where that work at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I'm glad. I ain't mean to bum rush the joint, but I'm really happy to see that we are addressing this on Black Power Media, because I think that one of the things that is missing at BPM is culture. You understand what I'm saying? And African culture in particular. And I think that oftentimes we have a whole lot of lip service, but it don't do any good. We can communicate and ponder about what's going on politically in the world, but it don't mean anything if you can't teach people how to to defend themselves and take it to another level. So I just wanted to hop on and say that, and I wanted to pose the question, and I don't know if you all already answered it because I just hopped on late, but I wanted to pose the question of is it possible to be a quote unquote revolutionary without training? So, that's my question.
Well, number one, so we have to ask another question. Is it possible to have revolution without revolutionary violence? No.
Right.
No. So if you're going to have revolutionary violence, but you aren't trained to do that thing, then you have people running around exacting chaos or not doing shit at all.
I believe you said revolutionary.
You have people who will say, let's just run into a building and blow it up. But the motherfucker don't know nothing about explosives and they don't know how that works. So they're fantasizing. So you have people who cosplay revolution because they are untrained. And if you're untrained, you're ignorant. We're all ignorant of something. But when we talk about revolution, which requires revolutionary violence, if you are untrained, we're talking about training. We're talking about training with tools. We're talking about training with our hands. We're talking about training to build certain structures, to move certain ways. Those things that would make revolutionary violence successful, the untrained doing it are very dangerous. I'll just say, if we are going to wage revolution, I do not want the untrained next to me. Because I know I got to protect them and me.
Right.
I got to kind of do that anyway, but damn, at least if I'm working to help protect y'all, I know y'all trained up with shit. If I got to go over here, y'all can handle yourself.
Yeah, bro.
But this motherfucker here, not trained, but then you talking down on training, you are a danger to all of us now.
It's like you like not even you say what's the saying? A revolutionary will without revolutionary skill will get a revolutionary kill.
But revolutionary will, but you will not do shit. we'll get not just you killed, but other people killed too.
Absolutely. How can you have these ideals? How can you feel like you have these rights and not know how to defend them? The only thing that you have is you thinking that whatever you're saying is going to make someone respect these rights and these ideals that you have. And that's not going to be the case, especially, as time progresses. Like you're going to need exactly as we've been shown, like you need to be able to defend yourself physically, not just yourself, but those around you.
And your people, we talked about defending the community 2 shows ago, right? And how that is the Olubeja, right? How that's the person who defends the community. It's a warrior who defends the community. You can't do it alone. So it takes a group of people. It takes a group of trained people, though.
Right.
So don't tell me because you started an organization that makes you fit to do anything when it comes to the revolution.
That's 2 different things.
So you may form an organization that is black, but it ain't black power.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, because if you're talking about black power, keyword power, how can you have, and you may get power, but how can you keep power if you don't know how to protect it?
Right. And I'm glad you saying that too, because I was actually being interviewed a few days ago, and one of the people kept stressing, like, how is it for me being on a so on and so forth. And I was just straight up. I said that there are Black Power Media is definitely a tool for propaganda. It's not a revolutionary platform. Let's not get it twisted. You understand what I'm saying? There are revolutionaries on the platform, but I wouldn't call it a revolutionary platform. I think one of the things that we do is that we
I think our comrade froze. just to answer your question, you said, who said we don't need self-defense training? Come out training, but it was specifically when it comes to not like somebody trying to smack you up or something, but specifically when it comes to an active shooter. I believe that was all he was talking about. I have to go and watch it again, but
or just saying in general too. If anybody's saying that too, you know.
Oh, really?
I'm saying
right.
I'm saying in general. If anybody's saying that, if he's not talking about come out.
Yeah. But when he asked who said that,
yeah, people say that all
you're going to martial arts class or something like that, and they got a little smirk, or
because we get that all the time.
Yeah, like
well, so when people come to our class, just so you know, and they're martial artists, I weed them out real quick. I say, everybody, throw your tool, at least just one, because you should have more than one. One is none, really. But throw a tool on the floor. And the floor is full of so many tools. And I watch the face of this person who says they this martial artist, they this, they that. And you see them shook. Am I bullshitting?
No, it happens.
You see them look like the fuck is going on? So much so, Ominiki's uncle came to class. He said, what Balagoon teaches, that's not martial arts, that's combat. He had to redefine our shit because he's a martial artist. In his mind, martial arts is hiya, hoi, he, right? But he ain't nothing like what we do, unfortunately. So in his mind, that's combat. A part of me wishes I was never in the military, so people couldn't even say that's from the military. I was trained like that. When my father went to Africa, that's the way they were taught. That's what gave him the idea to take what he learned from special forces and add it to what we were doing because their mindset was so military. And these are people, straight revolutionaries. I told you, when you're talking about, I want revolutionary, Africans got they revolutionary from us. Are you out your goddamn mind? For real? Like, so that's ignorance. You don't know a thing.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know what happened. It's like as soon as I said something about BPM, I got lost. Whatever censored on platforms going on here. Nah, but nah, what I was saying is, and I didn't mean to cut you off, was basically it's important to have these discussions because I think that unfortunately there are a lot of people who get information from platforms like ours, right? And we have to be responsible in what it is we're talking about, because we're talking about our liberation movement, we're talking about struggle, we're talking about organization. That's all a part of the process.
Yeah,
bro. You know what I mean? So if information is being given that's not accurate, it can cause damage, it can cause harm.
Kalonji, real quick, I want to just, because you wasn't on just now when you went out, in the chat it said they were asking who said that we don't need self-defense, and Baba was saying he was saying Kamal was basically saying that. So I just want to clarify something, because someone commented on here and said I don't believe that's what he was saying. So I want to just clarify exactly what Kamal said, because I don't want anybody putting words in his mouth either.
Yeah, what can be done, because I think that what's being referred to may be from the morning show, which is maybe a couple days ago or whatever. And I don't want to misquote anyone. You can go back and see whatever it is that was said for yourself. I think that what's important from this topic as a whole is that whoever like it or whoever don't like it, training is important when you're talking about being revolutionary, right? That's the bottom line. So you can't write your way out this ass whooping. You can't read your way out this ass whooping. You can't take a megaphone
way out of it.
Man, it don't go like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's about And I need folks to understand this ain't just about that person or anybody else. I don't care.
That's
who
what I was trying to make
you
sure.
know what I'm saying?
Clarify.
We're talking about our people's liberation movement, right? And I have to say this, and I'll go on record and say it, right? When we're talking about Black Power, that shit means something to some of us, right? It's not just a slick slogan. It's not a soundbite. It's not it's not a marketing promotional tool. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't none of that. When we talk about Black Power, it is about your life. It's a matter of life and death. You understand what I'm saying? It's about whether we survive or we don't survive, right? It's not Black Power only on Black Power Media. It's not Black Power only when, I'm not around white folks. It's Black Power all day, every day. And in fact, I just tweeted something earlier about saying that, some of us are Black by popular demand and the rest of us are Black where we stand. You understand what I'm saying? So wherever we are, this is who we have to be. I don't switch up. I don't code switch because white folks are around. I don't give a damn if I'm in the court, the supermarket, whatever. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our people's liberation movement, we have to be serious about who we are. Now, I'm not saying that you should just walk around, showing arms and just being reckless. But I am saying that, our culture and our position is important, especially when we're talking about educating and liberating our people. It is imperative. If not, we will lose every time. And that's the bottom line. And I don't, I'm not here, with all due respect, for the chat or the chatter. I'm not here for no shout outs, no applause, none of that. We, and I say we because I know the people on the screen right now, we are serious about our people's liberation movement. We're serious about our people as a whole. And anything else is, as the commercial used to be, uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? We might joke, but this shit ain't no joke.
Right.
And I really would like a question for Omanike, being a woman, because oftentimes you get get some sisters that assume that because you're surrounded by brothers or whatever, that in order for you to be a woman in our people's liberation movement, that you have to be some type of docile person, or that you can't train because of so many different excuses. I would like to ask you, under what conditions should women not train? You understand what I'm saying? And because to me, I think it's an excuse, but I just need from you, because I know that, and I could proudly say on the air that within our African martial arts system, Omanike outranks me. You understand what I'm saying? So I just like to know, like, what conditions should women not train? Because, it seems for some reason that people make excuses. So,
Oh yeah.
And I know you hit hard. You know, hit me a couple
I've heard quite a few, including that women are supposed to faint. That it's not our place to be fighting. But I won't go all off into that. The only conditions I know of from being a part of African martial arts and up under Baba is if you are pregnant, you should not be training.
He won't let you train.
Right. He will not let you train if you're pregnant. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't work on your mindset as far as training goes. But as far as physical training goes, if a woman is with child, then she should not be training. But other than
don't tell Baba till you show him.
Right. Well, if you're in a wheelchair, you should be training. If you're on crutches, you should be training. If you, whatever you have going on with you, if you are 80 years old, you should be training. That is what I have been taught, and that is what I believe. That's the experience that I've had.
And so you all know the reason why a pregnant woman shouldn't train is really because, well, the main reason, it slows down her partner's training. If I'm training with you and you're pregnant, in the midst of my flow, hits to the stomach could come, whatever, right? Turn you into a choke. Well, choke, denying you oxygen, denying the baby oxygen. Hit to the stomach, you know that could be damaging, right? Yeah, so in the midst of my flow, I don't know what's going to come out. That's the whole thing with training.
Oh, I thought you cared about the pregnant when you just care about getting your shit up.
That's the number one when you slow the person down.
No, that's real though.
Pregnant woman, she got to be careful where her stomach hits.
Yeah,
All of that.
accident of an accident happened. You may
Right.
not be
So
with somebody
that's the
untrained.
number one. Throw. I mean, gosh.
Yeah, no,
That's
I'm messing
number
with you.
one. Number two, she has to be, and three is a spiritual, but number two, that's the time where she has to really go into herself more than dealing with this class and that kind of thing. You know, because people say, well, what about firearm training? Firearm training, if you shot a firearm, if you ever shot a firearm and you don't have earplugs in, you know that's a shock to the system. Well, the baby's in your system. So just be careful of that. People say, well, because you smelling the gunpowder. Bullets are not loaded with gunpowder now, y'all. They're usually odorless. When shots go off during the active shooter thing, we'll deal with that in a second. But the main thing is you have to worry about, you want to rely on your eyes, okay, and what to do. Now, to know where they're at first, you can rely on hearing. I hear shots coming from so-and-so. People, you can smell, you're not smelling gunpowder. Bullets are unloaded with gunpowder now. See, that's the untrained talking to the untrained. The untrained don't know no better, and they'll go and spit that same shit somewhere else. Another reason why being trained is important. Now, somebody said, well, Kamal said, being trained alone, being trained alone is not enough. Being trained, if you don't know what being trained is, it is enough. It's like you see.
I saw that comment too.
You're caught in the trick bag. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you caught in the trick bag. Being trained is not enough. Being trained is enough, because being trained ain't just going hi-ya, hoy.
That's what you don't get.
It's your thinking. It's how you move. It's the things you carry. It's the things you wear.
Thank you.
All of that.
It's your coach. It's like hip hop, man.
So, when our comrade said training is as important as political training is political education. Political education is training. Training is political education.
Right, because if you got the right,
there's no separating the two.
It can't be. If you got the right political education, training is in that. It's all inclusive.
We all got politics, right?
Right.
The person who said training, you don't need training. They got politics.
Yeah.
But if they're training you, their political training when it comes to this arena is off. It's off. So that's why we have to be more humble, number one. But two, we have to recognize the master blacksmith, and that's dealing with humility. The master blacksmith in one town, the student in another. How you eat is political. If you ask me to make you a healthy meal, I'm probably gonna fuck you up. That's not my arena, right? I think I got ideas of what, but I wouldn't gamble on that shit.
Right.
I wouldn't gamble on it. When you're talking about an active shooter, how to deal with that. You're gambling if you're dealing with people who really don't have a clue. We're going to skip ahead to Ominiki dealing with now let's look at how to deal with active shooters.
Right.
Because we want to give you all some methodologies, okay?
Okay. So now to move forward and look at how to deal with active shooters. And don't say no one has solutions. Just because you don't know does not mean no one knows. Just because you aren't prepared doesn't mean that others can't be. To do that is arrogant, ignorant, and irresponsible. So stop it. When you're going to a mall or a market, or even during your first days of class at a new school, make a mental note of exits. Have at least 3 options preferably in 3 different directions. This could be as obvious as a double door entry or as desperate as a second floor window with a 10-foot drop onto pavement. Second, observe the whereabouts of any large items or objects that seem sturdy enough to provide cover. If needed, file this information in your mental Rolodex. In some malls, for example, there may be a lounge area with furniture or sculptures or columns that are placed at regular intervals. In a school, are there desks bolted to the floor? Do the windows open? Filled bookshelves in a library or the cooking and dishwashing utensils, as well as pots and pans in a cafeteria, will provide very good cover. Third, look around at the people you pass while in public places or when you're among crowds. If you're at a mall, pay special attention to the individuals who don't seem to have the demeanor of the average shopper, and to individuals carrying large bags, such as duffel bags, or wearing unseasonably heavy clothing. Keep an eye on people who seem particularly nervous. Watch individuals wearing military-style boots or clothes that seem out of place. Many times, these shooters imagine themselves as members of some type of militia or are military imitators and could be wearing army boots or fatigues, though they are clearly identifiable as someone not on active duty. The checklist for soft targets is find your exits, locate places or objects that could serve as your nearest cover, observe individuals who are dressed strangely, acting abnormally, or carrying something suspicious. Trust your gut.
Once the shooting begins, okay, people who have never heard the sound of gunfire often compare it to the sound of a car backfiring or a loud firecracker. If you hear gunfire on a radio, something like that, it sounds more like slapping, a loud slap. It's not like in the movies. That is all kinds of stuff layered, sounds layered, from guerrilla roars to shotgun blasts or a pistol to make it sound cinematic. But that's not how firearms actually sound. The discharge of a firearm in a closed environment, such as a mall or a classroom, is distinct and will leave no question that an assault of a deadly nature has begun. I was going to fire off a round indoors, and I said, "Oh hell no, my wife would be really tripping." In a safe way, you know. But she'd be like, "Hell no, don't." So I wouldn't. So you would know that sounds like, but you still wouldn't know because it's through electronics.
Right.
It would be that loud slapping sound that I'm talking about, but it has a distinct sound. Some think that gunfire produces the smell of burning sulfur or gunpowder, like the odor at a fireworks display, right? You think that's what gunfire smells like? No. Modern ammo uses smokeless powder and is virtually odorless. You know, we had a dude shooting. He said, "Man, the lead giving me a headache." This ain't gunpowder, dude. You're lying. Lying. You put yourself up there as a leader of men, but you're really weak, and you can try to excuse that, and you're lying. There's no gunpowder in that bullet. Of all 14 of your senses, initially trust your ears in this scenario. The sound of gunfire is unmistakable, so initially trust your ears. Here are steps to take once shooting begins. So Ominiki gave you steps. I'm giving you steps once the shooting begins, right? So she gave you steps before anything happens, things to look for, right? I'm giving you steps now once shooting begins. Number 1, get off the X. You must remove yourself from the immediate vicinity of the source of the gunfire, which is referred to as the kill zone, or in special forces, it's called the X. Get off the X and do so without hesitation. Okay. It's essential, and we talk about getting off the line in class. Get off the X and do so without hesitation. That's whether empty hand, dealing with a shooter for sure. It's essential to get out of the line of fire during any lethal encounter or if engaged in a self-defense shooting incident. In order to get off the X, move. It's common sense, right?
Sorry.
You must do whatever it takes to get clear of the kill zone and find cover if you expect to have any chance of survival or retaliation. When the shooting occurs in a public place, the natural and initial response is to use the flight instinct. But it's best to make your flight a calculated one, so you don't turn yourself into a more visible and attractive running target. See, I'm running. Flight, fight or flight, fuck flight, I'm running. And you're running upright and wow, he sees that, okay? This flight must be for the purpose of getting clear of danger off the X and not flagging your position. Flagging your position means you didn't know where I was at, I take off, now you know. And you're sending rounds my way. Okay. Forgive me if I use some military terminology in this because this is where I was trained to deal with active shooters. Okay. So forgive me. I'll try to say it in ways that's most understandable for everybody. But getting off the X is the most simple thing as opposed to saying, get out the line of fire, make sure you angle your body at this way. Get off the X. Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, well.
Hitting the floor and lying flat. So, usually you're instinctively moving in a route away from the shooter. That's a number 1, 2. Preferably in a direction that is opposite from his or her focus. So I'm hearing shots. Oh shit, shots going on. I hear in this ear. They're down a little distant from here. I want to move in the opposite direction if at all possible.
Right.
Okay. Hitting the floor and lying flat is usually the first thing people do instinctively. But don't just cover your head and hope for the best. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Bullets can go through those hands over your head. Ooh.
But you're saying Lord, so that'll help.
Yeah, calling on the Lord may help. But I don't think Jesus gonna take the wheel. And Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus said, "No, nigga, you take this wheel."
No, Jesus, take the gun.
Right. But
Please.
even that, Jesus gonna say, "Shit."
Right.
I wish I had
that request has been made many times.
You must begin moving immediately while staying low. Okay. If you are able to dive for one of the objects you earlier identified as cover, make that move now. Get to your cover while staying as low as possible and do it with maximum purpose. That means goddamn haul ass. Maximum purpose, right? If you survive the first 10 seconds of this type of ambush, you have a much better chance of making it out alive.
Even before I ever trained, when I be in clubs or parties and somebody starts shooting, I never immediately run. I always would pause and try to identify where the shots is coming from. Because if you just start running, it never made sense to me.
Now, to add to it, it could be difficult, but there's a way to train that to look through. So we're trying to look over heads. That's how we're trained, untrained, to look over heads. You look past bodies. So what you're saying is right. Only thing I add is lower yourself too.
All right. Well, yeah, don't stand there and be like.
Right, that's what people be trying to look over your shoulder.
No, I had enough
and look past. Some of those sisters in the club got big old booties. Hard to look past. Get lower. Look under her booty. I'm deadly serious. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I was in a situation where I'm trying to look, and I'm like, damn, I couldn't see nothing. I just saw booties and jeans. I said, damn, somebody's shooting, damn these booties. And so I got down low.
That might go back to your earlier problem that you were having at Howard. Maybe, yeah.
It's funny
booties
too.
get all kinds of trouble. So just
It's funny too that you had that you wanted to fire a live round inside to show an example of something. I had an idea too, but it wasn't to shoot a round off. I was going to show 2 firearms to the untrained and ask them which one would they think is the most powerful. Then I decided not to put any firearms that I could allegedly own on camera. So I went against that. But what I will say is you'll see a fancy looking gun with a scope and all this on there, and it'll be shooting something like this right here. You know, and then you'll see look like old cowboy rifle, and that's shooting something like that. Right. But if you don't know that, you look at the fancy new looking gun with the scope and the beam and all that. Like that's the one right there. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know something, so that's just an example.
That 6-shooter shoots a 41 caliber ball that will tear you up.
Exactly.
Whereas a 9mm.
Right. I just got a 30-30 from the country. And I was so happy because I had one a long time ago. And I forgot how powerful it was. And I'm looking at my other one that shoot 9mm. I'm like, damn, this is for close range. It's not the same. All rifles ain't built the same. Like all punches ain't the same.
I was shooting, went to the range with a friend of mine, and we go to outdoor ranges. He shot 9mm. Nice shot, and it looked like this. I shot more 45, where his 9mm was at. That shit was torn up. It's a whole different level of something. But when you hear them, there's not much difference in the sound. It's not. Now, when you're talking about shotgun versus a pistol, of course, there's a difference, but it's still distinct. So B-Lay's going to give y'all how to tell where gunfire is coming from.
So in a closed environment, it depends on the proximity of the shooter. You can't trust your ears to determine the direction of gunfire. And most of the time it's going to be like a definite echo. And you might hear with a bullet.
You can trust that it's gunfire, but the direction, you can't trust your ears.
Right. You may hear where the bullet hit rather than where it came from. And since it's smokeless gunpowder used in modern ammunition, the best way to determine a shooter's location is to look for the muzzle flash, because that's going to emanate from the weapon and clearly tell you to move in the opposite direction.
So muzzle flash, pow, and you see flash, pow. You said fire, pow. That's the muzzle flash, right? Get gone from that direction. Don't go in that direction.
Right. And in order to do that, you want to use movement techniques. Generally, you will use the low crawl method, which involves pushing with your toes and pulling with your fingers,
so inch by inch. Pulling with the finger, pushing with your toes.
Good.
Right. And you move inch by inch if necessary, keeping you flat onto the floor and out of range. When you see the opportunity, you might use what's called the high crawl, lifting your belly only inches from the floor and moving on your knees and elbows.
Like a baby crawling.
That's
the high crawl.
Cover versus concealment. Cover is defined as something that will stop bullets, such as a concrete wall or a large potted plant. Concealment may hide you, but it may not stop bullets.
Confusing the two can be very hazardous.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
For example, if you're outdoors, a boulder is a cover, while in contrast, a bush offers concealment.
Movies will confuse you. Don't watch movies. False cover.
And in movies, you see. So when we say a potted plant, if a person's shooting a pistol, a potted plant will stop at that dirt.
Right.
Will slow it down, the actual pot itself. If they're shooting a rifle, get the fuck out the way.
If you don't know which one is which, you ain't trained good. Just run.
Right.
All right. So, in a shopping mall,
if you hear the shot, the bullet has already passed. Yes, the bullet is faster than sound. Absolutely right. The point is, it passed. It didn't hit you. Otherwise, you would know that too.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily pass you. It could be in the opposite direction of you.
Right. Get the fuck out the way. Get away.
Exactly. In a shopping mall, a rack of clothing could be used for concealment. Whatever you choose as a cover or concealment, avoid bunching up with too many people. In these circumstances, people huddled together will create a larger and more attractive target. A single bullet can penetrate several people. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, so they ain't good cover.
Now, get farther from the X. After you found initial cover, you want to still continue to move away from the shooter. So the X is the shooter. They're right here. That point is really the direction of the muzzle of that shooter's tool. Okay, their pistol or rifle. You want to get further from the X. After you found initial cover, you want to still continue to move away from the shooter. All right, going from cover to cover. So I move this cover. I don't want to stay at that one. I move again, right, when I can. So I hear shots. Ah,
right.
I don't move. I hear shot. Pow. I'm seeing how he's shooting. Pow. I know. Okay, that shot went. It's going like kind of upward away from me. I move to the next cover. You got me? So move when you will make a visualization of the path you'll take. Excuse me. This will help you to set your mind to achieving small goals or little victories. As each move takes you further from the X. So take your time. Don't try to run. I'm going to run all the way over to that. And you become a target. Right. Take your time. If you got to crawl over to the next cover, then crawl over to the next cover, okay? For example, you see a bush 15 feet away. Your goal is to make it to that point. So you gain one more potential victory in the overall plan to escape. Once you make it to that secure cover, you follow, and that's concealment, actually a bush, right? Once you make it to that secure concealment, you follow your path determined to get to the next goal point. At first, get between covers by making small bounds. So cover during a shooting supersedes concealment. Concealment hides you from the person. You may have to use a combination of both, but cover is what you want to get behind. So once you make it to that secure cover, you follow your path determined to get to the next goal point. At first, get between covers by making small bounds. As you gain distance from the shooter, you can increase the distance you travel between covers. You must start by low crawling, but note that the further away from the shooter you are, the faster you can move. So you get further away, you can high crawl. Then you can kind of crouch and run as you get further away, okay? The faster you can move, the further away from them you are. Even sprinting if the situation warrants it, but you got to make sure they shooting somewhere. You see them shooting, they're shooting, their backs to you, run. With semi-automatic rifles like AR-15s or AK-47s having a maximum effective range of 600 meters. That's 6 football fields, y'all. And with sniper rifles able to hit targets much further, like half mile to a mile on some of those. Most active shooters not shooting with that level of power yet. Thank God. That's because it's extremely expensive. Right? My sniper rifle, $7,000. That's with none of the bells and whistles. Okay. So, and don't try to go out and buy no $7,000 firearm either. Don't break yourself to do that. So you can hit 6 football fields with the AK-47 and AR-15, and those are commonly bought. AR-15, you're muted, but AR-15, you can get that for $800 out here. So watch it. Cheaper, $500 if you build it yourself.
That's a big,
by the parts.
That's a long bullet coming at you. That's a lot of distance right there for that to cover.
Yes. Just remember that if you can hear gunfire, you can be shot. If you can hear it, you can be shot. And even if you can't hear it sometimes, but you don't have to really worry about that too much. And ain't much you can do. If a person's shooting you from a mile away, I mean, your ass, nothing you can do. You can't hear it. I guess you could pray. Give an offering to the Orisha. You must continue to act with maximum purpose and calculated caution.
Now, can y'all see already how important just this type of knowledge and information and training can be? Just knowing and being able to be calm enough when you hear gunshots to be able to split second to say, this is concealment, this is real cover right here. I'm gonna get behind this, instead of this tree, this branch, I'm gonna get behind this refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a difference, and that split second is life-saving information. So that's why
we're gonna go to Belay with bullet penetration. For time's sake, I'll jump us around a little bit.
Copy that. So I didn't realize where we was at. 3:00 already. The three most common weapons used in active shooter situations are a 9mm handgun. I showed you that shell round. An AK-47, a similar rifle, which uses 7.62 or 39mm round. A 12-gauge shotgun with
double aught buckshot.
Double aught buckshots. That's that thing. Bricks, concrete, medium to large trees, or several layers of wooden boards will stop all of the above rounds from penetrating. However, typical wall of a house or apartment made of plywood or 2x4 and stubs and drywall will not. Neither will the aluminum body of a car.
Let me say something real quick. Now, a treat, if you get a Mosin Nagant, which is 7.62 by, I believe it's 7.62 by 64. It's a much more powerful round than the AK-47. That will go through a tree and kill you on the other side. You say, well, not too many people got that. I got one.
I need that to brag.
But no. But anybody can get one. You can buy a Mosin Nagant for $99.
Yeah. Don't tell everybody, Baba.
Well, they need to know that to know how important it is to know how to move more than anything.
And how common they can be.
Right. So, these fools, they get a hold of that, they start popping through walls and shit like that. So you got to be able to move. Moving, getting off the X is more important. That's the number one thing. Get off the X.
Get off the X.
Not sit behind cover for 30 minutes and thinking you safe.
But if you ain't trained and you panicking and you having an attack and you shook up, that's exactly what happens, and you wait to get picked up. So in a mall, for example, the usual potted plants have concrete containers that will effectively stop in the form of aforementioned ammunition. A mailbox will not.
So in special forces, when we need to take cover behind a vehicle, I told you I got into the shootout with the dude on the street, which was crazy, and we both ducked behind the vehicle. I ducked behind the wheels. He didn't, and that's how I end up popping him. The tires at the front end of the car are better because the engine block and axles provide additional fortification and make it a good cover. So if you duck behind a car, don't duck behind like the middle of the body where the door is at. A rifle round go through there, hit you on the other side, but it will not penetrate the wheels. And if you're in the front, the wheels, the axle, the engine block, and then the other tire and hit you. It's not going to do that. Okay, just so you know. So that's what we were trained to get behind, those things. And in combat, we would get behind those things.
You wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think about that, about the tire part. Because
in movies, it gets hit. People shoot a tire with a, and I've tried this, and it doesn't penetrate with a pistol. And they go.
That's not how it works.
Then the car crashes. No, only in the movies. Don't believe the movies for your survival. Don't rely on a movie.
Yeah, bro.
Cause they be bullshitting. The action movies of modern day are like the kung fu movies of the 70s. They're just as unrealistic. Okay. So I'm just going with what. Okay, so I'll go with what next. Self-assessment. Once you regain your clarity, so you've gotten away, The shooter inside the building, you out the building. Okay. Whew. Your mind, breathe. So use that combat breathing we showed you. Breathe in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, out 4 seconds, right? Do that 3-4 times. Then once you regain your clarity, now's the time for a secondary type of situational awareness, because situational awareness should have been there in the beginning, like Ominique was talking about. You're aware of what's going on, who's doing what, anybody nervous, what they're wearing, that kind of thing. Next, the secondary situational awareness is the awareness of yourself, self-assessment. First, check yourself for wounds. Make sure you ain't get shot. Make sure you ain't cut yourself as you crawling out the place. Okay, don't say, oh, it's just a wound there. F that, like you tough. I was with some friends of mine. One of them got stabbed. I said, hey, man, we got to get you somewhere because the rest of us, we cool. We ain't get stabbed. We handle our business. He got stabbed up. Well, he's like, I'm cool. I'm with y'all. I'm fine. I said, man, we need to get you to the hospital. I'm straight. He walked 3 steps and fell. Blue. Intestines coming out from under his shirt.
Oh, man. Hope he got them back in there.
But what's so cold, my boy Anthony. Anthony, if you watching this, I know you laughing because you know what I'm going to say. Anthony looked at me and he said, ka-choom, 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 ka-choom. That's from Pay the Cost to Be the Boss. When he gets stabbed and falls, I think he gets stabbed and shot, and he falls. Black Caesar falls on the ground.
Y'all got to be cold-blooded to do this.
He grew up on the west side of Chicago,
Y'all was cold-blooded.
And so we laughing. We got him to the hospital.
Okay, but y'all like this.
Although this punk, gave the detectives my name. He said because he stabbed the dude who stabbed him. He said he was me. So they called my house. I said, you're talking to Adam Swan. So how? Wow. He's in the hospital. What's his name? I don't know. I wasn't gonna snitch on him, but he goddamn lied, snitched on me.
Out there.
And he's avoided me since then. That's been over 30 years. He's avoided me since then. But I know where he's at. Just so you know, Jock. I know where you're at. Yeah, I named him just so he know. I ain't forgot. But anyway, so make sure you self-assess. Check yourself. You got wounds that need to be taken care of, y'all. It's important. You don't want to get away and then you end up losing a leg because you get gangrene. Right. All right. If you have made it this far, you are probably not critically injured. If you made it this far, because you got critically injured, you're probably not going to crawl your way out of there. Low crawling and shit. You ain't going to be doing that. Existent breathing and a heartbeat rule out serious injuries. You say, huh? If you're breathing and your heart beating, you ain't got serious critical injuries.
Especially if you're breathing and you can feel your own.
Right. That's it. You're not critically injured. You may be injured, but you're not critically injured. Okay, so there's a silver lining in that, right? But many times, in times of great stress, people will be injured and not know it. I know people got stabbed and they thought they were punched.
Right. You got a rod through your side. You don't even know. You just.
Right. Exactly. Do a quick head-to-toe self-assessment, paying particular attention to bleeding and fractures.
That'd be so scary, boy. After the incident, you start patting yourself like, did I get hit? Woo, that'd be scary.
If you feel something wet, say you feel something wet here, it could be sweat, it could be blood. Look. Okay.
We used to get check each other.
So after you do a quick assessment, if you know how to treat yourself. Now we got taught in the Stop the Bleed class. If you don't know how to, ask anybody around here know how to stop this bleed. God damn, I'm bleeding right here.
It's a part of the training too.
So right. If you can, take a quick drink of water. If you can. If you got water, that's also part of training to have water with you.
Yeah, both.
At most times. Next, take an inventory of the resources that you still have at hand that could help you further. Is there anything that can break a window, for example, or something to act as a portable shield? Is there a vending machine or a water cooler nearby so you can get some nourishment and hide behind that mug if you need to? You have just been through strenuous physical activity and could require significantly more effort until you are safe. Things to consider: clothing. Remove excess or brightly colored clothing and accessories you don't need. Coat, purse, shiny jewelry. Because remember, you got the safety, but that person's still in there. Or, no, I slit the shooter's throat. Yeah, but it may be a second shooter somewhere. So, remove bright colored clothing. You don't want to make yourself a target. And if you slit the person's throat, you may want to take the bright clever, because you don't want people say, "It's the dude in the bright yellow shirt." Tell the police, slit the dude's throat. You may not want to be seen by the police during that time. I didn't say run from the law. I'm saying you may not want to be seen at that time. You're nervous. You're scared. You don't know. The active shooter may have on a police uniform. We already talked about that. Right? So you may not want nobody to see you after you get out of there. Equipment. Look around for anything that could help you escape, help transport the injured. But you want to help if you are able to, other people. Serve as a tool. Remember, you are the weapon. So you want to look for these things. Okay. Ominika, can you deal with the rule of 3?
Yes. Make a decision using the rule of 3. Make a decision about the next course of action, choosing the best of 3 plans you can conceive. There isn't time to second guess yourself or for debate. Pick what seems like the best of 3 options and then act decisively. In the case of an active shooter, for example, your 3 options might be: number 1, head to the nearest exit. Number 2, run to the highest level and attempt a rescue from the roof. Or number 3, set an ambush, recover a weapon, and shoot your way out.
Now, I'm going to deal with ambushes, how to set an ambush, and we'll end it there. There's a lot that goes on, okay? 2F said, broke my ankle once and didn't know it till I saw my foot dangling. Yeah, the mind is absolutely amazing. How to set an ambush. The best ambush is one in which your target ends up in the exact location you want them in, essentially walking right into your trap. Put yourself in a hidden position that the shooter must pass by. You say, well, I'm going to take on the shooter, that or die. In some instances, you don't have a choice. So your choices are die or fight. Well,
attacker or victim.
Fight or flight. Sometimes that pause has evaded you, or you outlived that pause. Now it's time you got to do something else, right? So put yourself in a hidden position. So in this case, you have to fight. I'm just dealing with this one, right? Ominika dealt with the 3 things. You can run about that mud. You can get to a higher level and, figure out rescue from there, or you can set an ambush. Put yourself in a hidden position that the shooter must pass by. This is known as the strike zone. Obviously, surprise is the key to a successful ambush. So now you're the X for that shooter. And if he ain't trained in somebody fighting the shooter back, he don't know to get off the X. Okay. Obviously, surprise is the key to a successful ambush. Additionally, you will increase the odds of your success with a tool. If you got a tool, your chances are better. So another reason to get trained, because you should be carrying tools, and we deal with that every week. Belay says, you got your tools?
Those of you that ain't got it on you, I'm starting to worry, but are you really just watching? Are you watching? Are you listening? Are you hearing? What are you doing?
Exactly. Types of ambushes. There are 2 types, okay? Ambush with multiple people. This is the ideal form of ambush. You have greater numbers and are able to strike from multiple positions simultaneously. Just remember that with multiple people, the odds of hurting one of your own increases. Just remember that. Train, you're better off. You say, well, what if they ain't trained? Well, see, I try to move with my folk. That's also part of my training. to move with the train. Okay. Now, make sure that you direct those in your party to remain at pre-established set points in the ambush to avoid casualties from what is referred to as friendly fire. So I'm set here. I'm going to shoot here when they walk through. Do not go to the other side and you're going to shoot from there too. We've been to pop each other. So make sure we're staggered intervals so nobody shoots in each and nobody breaks that zone so we don't hit the other person, okay? Hit nobody else other than our target. The person down there, they missed their shot. He's running. Oh shit, they shoot at me. Then the rest are set here to get his ass, okay? Or her ass. An L ambush. So that's ambush with multiple people. The other ambush is the L ambush. One group sets up to lure the shooter toward them, while the other group to the right or left is prepared to engage once the shooter enters the strike zone. So one group, oh, put your hand, motherfucker. You can shoot the broadside of a barn, punk. Oh, cracker. Anything. You take off. Here he come, right? Coming to shoot you. And your people tear his ass up. That's the L ambush. Now, I will tell you, if you're with me and we decide on the L ambush, y'all can lure him.
I knew that was coming.
I ain't doing that, but and I will pop that mug. I'll take that part, but I'm not going. Hey, sucker!
Balagoon debate.
No. All right.
Balagoon debate.
Wow. I can't emphasize enough the necessity of violence of action for an ambush to be effective. Okay. We talked about revolution. Well, we're raging revolution on this shooter. Well, it requires revolutionary violence.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So I can't stress enough the necessity of violence of action for an ambush to be effective. If you must face the shooter and it comes down to either him going down, dying, or you dying, you can and will put every ounce of your being into defeating the enemy if you got any ounce of goddamn sense. Survival is your main mission. If the ambush is successful and the shooter is dead, good. The bastard's gone. He's done. If the shooter is alive, then make sure to bind and gag them. You bind them, also gag them because they may have a secondary shooter. I'm over here, they got me. Gag them too. Never assume this is the only shooter or that the incident is now over. Stop and listen. Do you hear any more gunfire? Does the shooter you took down have a radio? If they do, there's somebody else they must have been communicating with, right? They just wearing the radio to look cute.
Right.
They ain't cosplaying. They've been shooting folk or shooting at folk. They're not cosplaying. So that radio is not part of a cosplay. They're talking to somebody. Attempt to get further information regarding the number and location of other shooters from the assailant using any effective form of coercion. And yes, I mean torture. Okay. This person was trying to kill you and other innocents. Use whatever means necessary to know whether he or she is acting alone. You say you're telling us you're advocating torture in that situation. You goddamn right. You gotta know. Is there another shooter?
You gotta know.
No, it's just me. Elbow that motherfucker in the mouth. I don't believe you. Is there another shooter? No. Grab his baby finger, snap it down towards his wrist. I don't mean this way, I mean sideways. I don't believe you, son. Is there another shooter? No, I swear there ain't no another shooter. You take this finger and pull it around his index and pull it around where it's on the other side of his middle finger.
Stop.
I don't believe you. Where is the other shooter, son?
Real shit.
Because you got a radio right here. Who are you talking to? Okay.
Right.
If he doesn't give it up, maybe he was talking to somebody at home base, wherever that may be. He got to tell you something.
Right.
Something.
And if you can verify it quickly, verify it. But he says, not another shooter. Cool. Pick his ass up and walk with him closely behind him. So just in case. Okay. I'll let you know too on that. I'm not going to be the one picking him up, walking with him. But I will be the one watching in case I spot another shooter and I'll pop at him. All right. But
I ain't mad at you.
Somebody else
was gonna.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I wanted to add one thing about just the ambush part.
Hold on, real quick. And like I said, I thought torture is ineffective to extract real facts. Yeah, if I want to know enemy strength and things of that nature, torture is ineffective because people are trained against torture. Okay, but an active shooter, usually not. But some of them are former military. It may be so. He may not give it to you. That's why I said, even though he says no, he does. You know, you don't trust that. Somebody walks him out, he becomes a shield. Okay, I'm sorry, Nikki.
I was gonna say, I remember a few years ago, there was an incident, and I believe it was in a McDonald's, where there was a young girl who basically was attacked by this adult man because she didn't give him a straw or something like that. And in that particular instance, she had like some boxing training. So she was able to fight him over the counter. But what I noticed about it was that no one came to her aid. None of
you talking about the famous video when she was going
right. She went in, but all of the men, young men, everyone who was standing around her, when someone did finally come, they grabbed her. Right. You know, like she was doing something wrong when this man was fighting her over the counter.
Right. That's what I was
saying. I actually at the time we had a kind of, low key water cooler, whatever type discussion about that at work. And some of the reactions of, some of my coworkers I found very interesting. There were people who were saying things like, you're not supposed to be trying to fight someone if you're the one at work. And I'm like, so if someone attacked you, so if someone came in here,
she wasn't trying to fight.
Right.
She wasn't trying to fight.
If someone came in here and attacked me, I feel like it would be the same scenario. Exactly. I would be trying to defend myself and you would just be standing there because we're not supposed to be fighting. We're at work. You know,
my mother was at church, when a crazy person snatched her out of her wheelchair.
Right.
Not one man or woman or not, but not one man defended her. And I know somebody went to the church. He said, if I had known that was your mother, I would have jumped to their defense. If any woman, I would have jumped to her defense. It didn't have to be my mother.
Right. Exactly. And that was the point of what I'm saying is, like, I was thinking about that during the ambush part. Like, this made me really start to think about and assess and observe the people who work around me. Because I'm thinking when, a situation goes down, I need to know who I really might be able to count on for something. So that's something that you really need to think about also. That's part of your prep work and your training with this active shooter thing. Thinking about, the people who are really around you every day when you're at work. That assessment is something that you can also be doing all the time.
Right. Yes. And so for me, around my old neighborhood, the old neighborhood we lived in, people would act certain ways, do certain things to my family or whatever. And I say, well, shit falls down. I know who's not going to get no help from me. Shit goes down. I know whose shit I'm taking if I have to.
There you go.
So that I'm always thinking in terms of that, not like looking, they got so-and-so, I'm taking a shit. No, this person did some dirty ass shit to us. So they also happen to have a stick shift car. Well, I don't need a key to start a kick shift car, a stick shift car. Right. So shit goes bad, they be like, where our car at? and we putting a log in that bad boy, maybe if necessary, right? So, but I'm always thinking too. Okay, these people here, they need help. They need, if we got to get some sort of shooter comes in this area, we're gonna do such and such. We had, and people were panicked. One day afternoon, hearing this marching. So my children said, "Daddy, we hear marching, like chanting." I peek out the door. It's a group of white supremacists. They got the American flag and they got their guns and they marching through the neighborhood. In Bankhead, or where Killer Mike, where he grew up at, right? They marching through there.
This must have been a long time ago.
So no, this was a couple years ago. It was right before COVID, 2019. I got a tool, and I'm out there in the driveway. I got the children hidden in the house in a certain area, right, in case rounds start popping, right. And so I'm right there, and they can't see me, but I'm watching them, and I'm looking at people standing outside. I'm watching the neighbors. Some people, oh Lordy, like the fuck. I'm looking over here at these folks over here, who my daughter plays, who I said, she can continue to play with them. He's out there, him and his wife, they got firearms. They kind of standing off behind their truck, right? I said, okay, we good. She continue to play with them folk. Their daughter,
right,
because they got sense. Folk down here, folk across the street from, I know, police always delivering stuff to them. I think they police. They looking, ducking back in the house. I said, oh boy. Okay. They may have been looking to make sure the white supremacists they called doing their job. I don't know, but they ducking back in the house. I'm like, ain't y'all cops? Why ain't y'all out here with y'all firearms too set somewhere? They marched through and didn't march back through. It was just the weirdest shit ever. I wish I could have known what the other neighbors were doing further down. Because I could have taken the assessment. Okay, these folk got sense. These folk, I'm going to deal with. These I'm going to avoid.
Mm-hmm. Did you finish the whole, did you finish your part? Did you finish your part of the
Yeah. So I finished.
Okay.
That part. It's all done. So we just wanted to give you all actual steps on how to deal with, not just talk about it, but actual steps. And
it's only 2 hours of stuff. This is
a lot of we skipped half of what we were gonna do.
And that's just a show. We can do this. Could be Baba could do a whole course on this, or what we call in class,
workshop.
Yeah, not even a workshop, a whole
phase.
The whole phase. We can do a phase on
because we're trained. I'll be right back.
On how to move. So it's how to assess the situation, how to look at before all of that. Like he was saying, when something happens, you have to get control of yourself.
Yeah,
that's the first thing that the training is supposed to do. It's supposed to help you gain self-control.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So something pop off, you don't just jump off the hinges. You have self-control, so you can think, control the situation, and then if necessary, you may have to control the active shooter. You know what I'm saying? So, and this ain't about nobody being a hero, because everybody ain't built to save people, but you can save yourself. Right. And the thing about it is, when you in any situation, if you know what you're doing and people see it and they can tell, you're going to imitate what you're doing. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you inadvertently save lives by just knowing what to do in certain situations, and people being able to see you and mimic what you're doing. So it's, so you got that aspect of it. You can go ahead, but I was just saying, we basically covered the mental aspect of why the training is important, because as soon as something happens, you got to be able to control yourself. And then the mental aspect of knowing what to do. It's not even physical as far as knowing the difference from concealment cover, different things like that, having the wherewithal to move, knowing how to move in a situation. So
and you got, because you have to first control yourself, then control your opponent, then control the situation.
Right, I said it backwards a minute ago. I said control yourself, then control the situation. But exactly, and so like you said, training by itself ain't enough. No, training is everything.
Right.
That's incomplete training.
What is it?
That's not enough.
Right, incomplete training ain't enough. But training is it now.
But if you're untrained, you don't know if training is complete or incomplete. See, that's
right, but that doesn't mean too. Don't take that where okay, I'm trained, I can't die. That's not what he's saying.
Right.
I'm trained now. I can go out here and nobody ain't gonna ever whip my ass. That's not the point. The point is I've been training. I can survive. I'm going to survive. I know how to survive, how to get back home. Too many of us got winning in our head and know.
And that is a difference also in what you train. So if you're training in sport, martial art, that's not self-defense. Don't confuse that. That's not self-protection. Don't confuse that, because the mindset of a sport is to win. Don't bullshit and say it's how you play the game. No, you want to win when you're in the sport.
Right. Even if it's a combative sport.
Right. And your coaches, like any coach in any sport, is going to teach you to win, pushing you to win, encourage you to win, and you're encouraging yourself to win. Not to get the silver, you want the gold. Well, self-defense, the idea is not to win, is to survive. Okay. That's what we seek to do. We seek our end goal is to survive, not to beat your ass.
Right.
If I have to beat somebody's ass to survive, that's how that goes. So in that, my first thought, if somebody's shooting, is not to do a goddamn flying karate kick.
Or throw a ninja star at them.
Or a ninja star, push them off the roof. My first thought is I got to survive this encounter, and so I rely on the things I'm trained in to survive. And a karate kick is going to be last on that number because I don't plan on him getting close enough for me to do the karate kick. Even when we're doing an ambush.
As bad as he wanted to.
We're going to ambush him. We're going to punch him as he runs through the line. I'm like, I'm out. Because these motherfuckers don't have a clue.
Especially if they punch you like that, goddamn. You got to get out of
there. Gotta get the end. I mean, the karate punch right in the tempo. Oh, these two knuckles punching like this is so much power. That's untrained. Don't fool yourself if you trained because you know how to espouse some shit that was wrong in the first place. And you punch with these two. Oh, it's devastating. Get your ass out of here. Those people I categorize as untrained too.
Yeah, they worse. It's like educated Negroes that's educated with all this foolishness, Western European craziness. Right. They think they're so intelligent.
Exactly. Same shit. When you punch, just so you know, and I'll end with this, you punch with your entire fist. That allows your brain is a safety valve. It says, shit, I punch with these two little knuckles, they're going to break. It doesn't let you punch as hard. You may punch what you think is hard. You punch with the entire fist, your brain says, oh, I got support. And it allows you to punch a lot harder. Our punches, and I say this, and somebody can challenge me on this shit, our punches are harder than any martial artist by
Let me just jump in real quick and say this. What he's saying, because he said what he said, but let me just explain that. So the same concept, right? Your mind is controlling your power in this punch. If it's just thinking these two knuckles are the only support, it is not going to give you the power the same way that your mind, your brain don't allow you to do a split. It ain't because your muscles can't do it. Your brain is sending that signal to make that pain, you feel that. You can actually do that, but your mind says you don't. I can't think of the muscles right there that you need to do that. I've forgotten the inside of your hip, your thigh muscles, but those are the weakest muscles of our legs, in our leg area, and then usually weak on most of us. To do a split, those have to be strong. Your brain is telling you this ain't safe. Same thing with that punch. It's saying that punch ain't safe. It ain't allowing it to be as strong as it is when we punch, and our brain knows this is safe. We can give you all of it. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So that once again,
Science.
training is more with the mind, or as much with the mind as it is physical.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So thank you all for joining us. Hope you all got something out of it.
Yeah, bro.
Love y'all. Stay black, or whatever it is that you may be. We will see you same time next week. Peace.
I manifesto. You don't want to master the Balagoon punch. You want to master the I manifesto
punch. Exactly. I manifesto.
I mean, you gotta come to Atlanta, come to class.
Yes, and thank you for joining us, Franny French. 2 F's is Franny French. If y'all don't know, I hope I don't think I told you.
Oh, okay, we got you.
We got.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah,
that's Franny French. Somebody in the private chat says, hold on a second, y'all.
That was Kalonji letting us know. Okay. I meant to say that to y'all too. He had to leave. He was getting a bad signal the whole time, so he said he'd catch us later.
Oh, his signal was probably perfect. Yeah, they somebody certain folks damaged.
That was what's the name in the background? I said, I did not say that. He cutting the power off on us. I didn't say that. They lying on us.
Well, that's his alter ego. So Kamal's alter ego is Camus. That's the gangster. That's the gangster one, Camus. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Be safe.
We love you, Kamal, and
love y'all.
Peace.
Black Power Media.